So here's this story. Have you heard about this story, Steph? I don't know even if you heard it. Mac found it for me. It says Parkland survivor says Harvard admission was rescinded over past racist remarks. So this guy, Kyle Kashuvs, he said on Twitter that his egregious and callous comments in leaked screenshots cost him a spot in one of the world's most prestigious schools. So, Mac, where was this? What was this communication? He said leaked screenshots. Screenshots of what? Were they talking over texts?
They were private Google Docs shared between the students of the high school and private texts.
Oh, okay. So these were private
Yes.
communications.
These are private things.
Okay. So last month, screenshots leaked to the Huffington Post appeared to show him making bigoted comments when he was 16, months before the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
Can I jump in right now?
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand why the sins of teenagers has to be continuous. You know, why do we have to see well, you know, here, I didn't grow up in a time period where everything that I'd ever written or ever, you know, wanted to talk about was somewhere on a social media platform. So, you know, to me, I'm uncomfortable that kids are going to be held accountable for the things they said when they were 15, 14, 13. You know, don't you feel
you're
that
a
way?
teacher. I'll tell you this. I'm not going to show. He used the N-word a bunch, but obviously in a exaggerated way. It was like he wrote it like, I don't know, 10 times or something.
Okay.
And it was in a very exaggerated way, and he was trying to be shocking to his friends. Now that's Parkland. So Parkland teen Kyle Kashev, former Turning Point USA member, apologizes. So he apologizes. So some of his former friends, who he sent these, who they had these. So this is like a 16-year-old
ranting,
just saying crazy shit to his friends. But now because teenagers live online, it's all written down somewhere. There's an electronic copy of it, right? That's so normally before the internet, this is what shit people said to each other. But now people talk through electronics all the time or digitally. And so that's how this is done now. And so now, like, some stupid shit you said in a private conversation, and again, it was as horrible as it could be. Again, the kid was trying to make some kind of shocking, it looked to me like some kind of shocking joke. Kashev's racist messages were shared with Huffington Post by a former student and a current student. The message dated the late 2017 or early 2018, just a couple of months before a shooting at the school left 17 dead.
Why do you stop there?
I don't understand what a 16-year-old's private message to a friend trying to be now the Huffington Post prints it. I don't understand. That doesn't seem like, I thought you're not supposed to do that to kids. Like, I understand when a powerful person's emails get exposed and expose their criminal activity while they're supposed to be ruling over us. I get why that's news. But a 16-year-old kid had some, basically having a bullshit session. It seems, Steph, is it seem, now you're a teacher again, and does it seem extreme to you? It seems like we're losing something here.
Okay, so when I was teaching in the Glendale School District, they hired a whole company, and that company was supposed to go online and watch the behavior of students in Glendale School District.
Isn't that crazy?
I thought that was the creepiest thing ever. And, I heard a lot of rationalization for it. Like, we have to make sure. It's always safety.
Safety.
It's always safety.
Safety.
And so, like, when I see this phrase right here where it's talking about a former student and a current student, that the message dated in 2017, and that they say just a couple months before some awful event, I think, aren't they like conflating these two situations, his caustic comments and then the shooting? I feel sorry for kids that they're dumb enough. We've all been in this situation where we've written something and we go, but now their lives are on full display because a lot of kids display everything and anything anytime.
But this wasn't even, this was private.
Yes. Well, I've had kids that would come up to me and go, I just got in trouble because I was doing this private chat with somebody and they took screenshots and now everybody knows.
It seems, again, everyone's against racism, but this seems like this was this kid being, outrageous with his friends. Anyway, here's what he says about it. A few weeks ago, I was made aware of egregious and callous comments classmates and I made privately years ago when I was 16 years old, months before the shooting, in an attempt to be as extreme and shocking as possible. I immediately apologized. Here's my apology. We were 16-year-olds making idiotic comments using callous and inflammatory language in an effort to be as extreme and as shocking as possible. When your classmates, your teachers, and your neighbors are killed, it transforms you as a human being. I see the world through different eyes and am embarrassed by the petty, flippant kid represented in those screenshots. After the story broke, former peers and political opponents began contacting Harvard, urging them to rescind me. Harvard then sent this letter stating that Harvard reserves the right to withdraw an offer of admission and requested a written explanation within 72 hours. Harvard deciding that someone can't grow, especially after a life-altering event like the shooting, is deeply concerning. If any institution should understand growth, it's Harvard, which is looked to as a pinnacle of higher education despite its checkered past. So let me just say this. There's this thing called, there's this joke. So as a comedian, I can't, all I can do is give you my perspective. Now, someone, a person of color might have a totally different perspective on this, and I'm open to that. I understand. So I can only give you my narrow perspective from my life. So you take it what you will, and go listen to other people and have that inform your opinion too. As a comedian, so I knew this woman who went to medical school, and she would tell me that so they have to work with cadavers, and she would tell me that as a joke, they would put cadavers' fingers in your smock pocket, and you would go in to get some, you pull out a finger. And that was a big joke to them. Like to us, they'd be like, "Oh my God, you're desecrating," and blah, blah. Oh, it'd be like, but they're in it, and so that's like their version of gallows humor. We all know gallows humor. We all do it. Again, this is not excusing anybody from doing anything. This is not an excuse at all. But what I'm going to tell you is, as comedians, we would refer to people who aren't comedians as civilians, because if they ever heard us talk the way we talk to each other, their heads would explode. Because comedians have such a dark sense of humor because they're around comedy all the time. They get numb to it. And so you got to keep going further and further and darker and darker and darker. And normal people would never, or civilians would never, like, remember when we would goof around with Todd Glass?
Jimmy, that's all I've been thinking about.
And we would think of the most outrageous things we could say to each other with a straight face. And it would be like the crazy outrageous. It was just, and that's just crazy dark stuff that comedians do. We
and
say
a lot of times,
dark, a lot of it. So there's this joke about, like, for instance, what I mean. There's this joke called The Aristocrats. Well, they made a fucking movie out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be this, it's this horrible, filthy, disgusting, every disgusting, filthy, horrible thing you could think of is in this joke. And the punchline at the end is, well, I don't want to tell you the punchline at the end, but the punchline is the guy, well, what do you call yourself? Call yourself the Aristocrats. But a normal person hearing that joke would be like, whoa, what are you? That is dark. So that's just comedians trying to shock each other. And so whether this Kyle Kashev was actually a racist when he was 16 or is now. I don't know, but it seems that now everybody their whole life can't even have a private conversation where they're trying to be crazy and outrageous. Like, no, again, no one's excusing racism. No one's excusing anything. But I think like if he did that publicly, that would be one thing. But as he said, he was trying to be as extreme and as shocking as possible. So we don't know if that's his real feelings in those things the screenshots.
Oh my God.
And it seems like a politically motivated thing. He said his political opponents were trying to screw him over for something he did when he was 16 in what I think anyway, it's this world we're living in now where, a 16-year-old kid doesn't even have a presumption of privacy, can't even reasonably assume that a 16-year-old kid's conversation with his friends, that seems a little extreme to me. Again,
I think it's also extreme, Jimmy, that somebody, sure, I know an admissions office at any college or university, they have the right to say yes or no, but I think it's awful that there could be some sort of campaign that you can target one student and have them no longer be able to be accepted to that university. I think that's an awful thing. Oh, I didn't like the way this kid was talking when they were 16 years old, and I have documentation of that. You need to rescind your offer to allow this student to attend that school. But by the way, one more thing. Mark Zuckerberg attended Harvard. George W. Bush attended Harvard. Bernanke attended Harvard.
So
Do you really want to be in the league with these fellas?
So George W. Bush is a bona fide war criminal. And if he wanted to go talk at Harvard, on Harvard's campus, they would let him. You know who they wouldn't let? Chelsea Manning, who exposed his war crimes. So that's who Harvard is anyway. So again, this is a squiggly line of morality.
And it goes back.
They're very okay with war criminals coming on their campus. They're not okay with people who expose war criminals coming on their campus. That's who Harvard is. Steph, go ahead.
Totally cool raiding the body of a college co-ed, like Mark Zuckerberg's, first platform began to do, right? Facebook, wasn't that about raiding co-eds?
Yes.
How fantastic. He's a graduate. They must be so proud of that guy.
Yeah, Facebook was invented to rate the hotness of co-eds on campus, right? That's what it was all. That's what I saw the movie, right? Mm-hmm. Did you see the movie? So I don't want to, as Glenn Greenwald said, I don't want to live in a world where a Silicon Valley billionaire has to police jokes of late night comedians. And I also don't want to live in a world where private conversations by people who aren't adults, 16-year-old kids, are now made newsworthy.
Hey, for argument's sake, Jimmy, would you say a kid at 16 making, crazy comments is as bad or worse than Bill O'Reilly? Because Bill O'Reilly, another Harvard grad.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know he went to Harvard. You think a guy who went to Harvard, you always think people like go to Harvard, well, he must be really smart. So people are coming at this kid. Oh my God, 2 years ago was practically a lifetime. I'm sure you were cured of your racism over such a long period of time. You made your bed, lay in it. But again, this is about a principle. This isn't about this kid specifically. This is about a greater principle. So now everyone has to answer for everything they said privately when they were 16.
Hey, then let's do that
Right?
with our war criminals. Before we go after this kid, let's talk about what did those war criminals say privately that we have evidence about what they're saying. This to me is shit. That they're going after this kid on what he said. I think it's ridiculous that you go after kids about the ugly shit that they post. Do you know what happens, everybody? Their brains aren't fully developed until what, 25?
25.
And so it also, you probably don't have that thing with empathy or sympathy or, compassion.
It's just, again, I think they would have a point if it was something public that the kid did. Like if the kid joined an organization that was racist or he publicly posted racist things, that's different. This is a kid having a private conversation where they're all trying to shock each other and be outrageous. I mean, they're outrageous. Again, like that's why I point to
Todd.
to the aristocrats joke.
Right.
I mean, comedians are always saying the darkest, most unbelievable shit that you would just go, "That's wrong." Yes. Yes.
I mean, Todd used to joke because I would film stuff all the time, and he goes, "Oh, if this ever was released,
yes. It just
you could make a lot of money." He told me.
we would just, so I don't want to live in a world where everyone has to answer for their private conversations they had when they were 16. Can you imagine a private conversation you had when you were 16 becomes a story in the Huffington Post? A private conversation you had? That seems extreme to me, right?
It's awful.
So this is a weird, again, well, there's more. So this person says, wait, you actually sat around and thought, what can I say that would be extreme and shocking? Actions have consequences. You chose poorly. And that got 5,000 likes, 5,800 likes. And then this person says, wow, a 16-year-old made a poor choice? String him up. His next 70 or 80 years are surely beyond redemption. After all, no one grows, and we are all set in stone by the age of 16. I hope no one ever goes that deeply into your teenage years and demands restitution as an adult. Oh, my God. Can you? I can't imagine. I just can't imagine.
So now I have to worry about my private conversations when I'm filling out college applications.
Private conversations. Did you have any private conversations where you said stuff that would be shocking to people and turn? What the? So this person says you should have had these thoughts before you decided to use the N-word. And don't give me I was only 16. You should effing know at 16 not to use the N-word ever. Indeed, you did know. That's why you said it in a private group. So to me, like they don't go, and this is problematic that we're talking about a 16-year-old's private message publicly.
How terrible you were saying shitty things in private to your friends. How terrible.
That you were saying shitty, over-the-top, racist things to your friends.
And so now if we just take that example, right? Eventually, who's the judge of the shitty things?
Right.
Right?
Well, I guess Harvard gets to decide who gets to go there. They're friends with war criminals. They don't like people who tell the truth about war criminals.
Mitt Romney, Ben Bernanke.
That's right.
Oh, who was the other one? Bill Gates, John Roberts, Larry Summers, rather.
Yeah. So, again, this is just my opinion from my perspective. I'm sure other people are going to have a different perspective. I'm open to hearing other people's perspectives. I'm open to me changing my mind on this or not. I don't think I would, but I think, does anybody really want to live in a world where you have to publicly as an adult answer for your private conversations you had as a 16-year-old? I mean, I just can think of all the crazy stuff we used to say to each other just about sex.
Yes.
Just about sex that boys say to each other back and forth about what I'd like to do to that girl or what I would do or what I would do. And then then when you get to be 20 years in comedy and then it gets that much darker. Crazy.
This is a silly story that I just remembered right now. So when I was in high school, I would hang out with one of my friends. She had a driver's license, and that was great. We're like, oh my God, we'll cruise everywhere. And I remember we would write these really vulgar letters back and forth, like these stupid little letters. And I remember one of our handles or the names that we used was Wanda Horlickadick. And we thought it was the funniest thing ever.
What was the name?
Wanda Horlickadick.
Oh my God, you didn't know that was offensive? Did you do that? How did you get into college?
UC Irvine didn't find out about it, so I'm okay.
So what was the name again?
Wanda Horlickadick.
Wanda Horlickadick.
We enjoyed the alliteration, all that good stuff.
That's not right. That's not okay.
And so my girlfriend was pulled over once. I wasn't with her, and the police went through her car and found our stupid letters. These stupid little scraps of little thing, and they were questioning her about it.
About Wanda Lickadick?
Horlickadick. Please get her name right. Come
I'm sorry.
on. Come on. It was my nom de plume.
Oh, wow. I thought it was. I was thinking of someone, Shirley Slurpercock. They're cousins
Yes.
on their mother's side.
Right.
Mhm. That's why they have different last names.
But Jimmy, it also makes me consider how there's this weird disconnect with protecting Julian Assange because he's revealing things that are dangerous for other countries.
Right. He's revealing the crimes of the powerful, which is a lot different than what this situation is. And I'm sure I look forward now, I'm sure there'll be 3 or 4, probably 5 videos made where someone misrepresents what I said. Jimmy Dore defends racism, just like they said Jimmy Dore defended Crowder. I didn't defend Crowder. No one. I didn't defend what Crowder said. I said that censorship isn't the answer to dealing with problems like Crowder. That's what I said. But people will lie and smear. That's what.
It's interesting. They want you to shut up about that.
They just smear you. They just smear you. Oh, Jimmy Dore's defending Crowder. No, I'm not. You fucking liar. That's not what happened at all. That's not what happened at all. But that's okay. I mean, it just goes with the territory now. No matter what I say or do, people make videos about it. I guess we've arrived. People make videos about us every day.
Yeah, and the thing about the Jimmy
Every
Dore
day.
show.
No matter what I say or do, there's going to be a video made about it. Or even if I don't do anything.
The thing about the Jimmy Dore show is we've always challenged the power structure.
That's right.
And we punch up.
That's right.
That is what you're supposed to do.
That's right.
And I'm not going to take time to talk about people that are struggling. I'm not going to punch down. So we punch up here at the Jimmy Dore show.
Right. And we've had, we've gotten the smears from CNN to the Washington Post to, YouTubers to Mother Jones. We get it. We get it. It's when you out left people, they don't like it. So they got to lie about your positions. They have to pretend that
well, they got to pretend the corporate. They have to. They're defending corporations.
That's
They're
right.
Corporate thought.
That's right.
ultimately.
That's right.
So get with the program, Jimmy. You need to be more corporate.
Did the Unabomber also go to Harvard? Someone says in our Hey, it's Ali says, fun fact, the Unabomber also went to Harvard. Did he? I think I remember reading something about that. I don't know. Hey, we just added St. Louis and Honolulu to our live tour schedule. Go to jimmydoorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our live shows. We might be coming to your town. Go check right now at jimmydoorecomedy.com. And if you like the show and want to support it, become a premium member. You can become a patron or through PayPal, or go right to jimmydoorecomedy.com and become a premium member. That's the best way. We'll see you at a live show.